So you'll have a little thing to accept. Absolutely wonderful. Okay, so good evening, everybody, and welcome to the masterclass this evening. I've called it the Standout Masterclass, and it's sort of changed direction a little bit from when I first started, but the idea of this tonight and the challenge that some of you have been on this week was just to think about ways to connect with people a bit more and to think slightly differently about selling. If you could mute yourself, if you've got some background, that would be lovely. Thank you. Right. Oh, there we go. That's fine. Yes. So to think slightly differently about selling, to think about why you're unique as well, because everybody's different. I know quite a lot of you on here are all part of the same company and do the same business. Not all of you, but quite a lot of you. And I know sometimes it's you can sort of feel like you're a bit lost in the crowd. So it's different ways to try and make yourself stand out, be memorable to people, feel better about selling, and just some mindset stuff as well. So I know if you were in the challenge, just pop in the chat and say that you've been part of the challenge. Now you're going to be sort of teacher's pet a little bit tonight, because we're going through some of the things that we covered last week. So when I ask for questions, some of you are going to have a much better idea, and you'll be popping things in the chat probably quicker than everybody else, which is completely fine, because it'll help people get some idea about what we're all about. So I'm going to share the screen now. I've got some slides to run through just to keep me on track. Yes, some of you there. Lorraine, are you still in the Snowdonia or whatever? Well, well done for being here this evening, if you are. So just bear with me while I get the slides up, and then I'll just get cracking. Just got to move your lovely faces a minute. Here we go. Right, in a minute, it should be working okay. Claire, I think Mark's in the waiting room. I'm sure you're on it. Can you see that all right? I can see Adam and Ash and Jane. Can you see that slide okay? Excellent. Okay, so we're going to jump straight into sort of the training. So just to let you know what tonight's about. So we've got the training first. I am then going to talk about a course that I'm doing that starts next week, which a lot of you actually on here already booked onto, which is fab. So for you guys, it'll be a nice recap of what to expect starting next week. And for the rest of you, it's an opportunity to get involved still if you want to. And then we've got some prizes at the end of the part of the challenge. And also then questions. Want to. Sorry, I'm just muting people. There's a bit of background noise there. So if we're just going to get stuck in. Now, I just wanted to talk a little bit. Somebody's still not muted. I don't know who that is. Claire, if you could see anybody, and that would be.
Yeah, I can't see who it is. It's not showing on my screen. Who's not muted?
It's Mark Tilly.
Thank you. I'll do that.
Thank you, Claire. Brilliant. Can everyone hear me okay now? Yeah, that's better. That's better. We were having a bit of feedback there. I'm just going to talk very quickly through a little bit about my background. And this isn't for me to say, tonight's not about me at all. It's just for some of you, you haven't worked with me at all before. And I know there's some people that are coming to the challenge and certainly might be watching this masterclass who have no idea who I am. So I thought it'd just be useful to just run through a little bit of background. Some of you know me certainly in the last 12 years, my most recent company, but don't know everything about what happened before that. And because tonight's very much about making connections and being memorable, some of this stuff is very relevant. So the first thing I would say is that I did learn from a very, very early age about setting goals. And the fact was then that you had to work hard to achieve them. So when I was 6 years old, I set my first goal of being an event rider. At the time, I couldn't even ride. We didn't have a pony, and I had to badger my parents to get one. And I spent the next 10 years working very, very hard, falling off an awful lot to make that happen. And I was successful in that and evented and competed on horses for many, many years. I was the youngest person to qualify for my VHS examinations in the country at the time because I wanted to coach people. So I've spent most of my life actually coaching and helping people in lots of different ways, very much mostly getting a bit more out of life than they thought they could, or certainly getting a bit more out of their horse than they thought they could in the early days, which is actually quite, you still got to motivate people, you still got to inspire people and give them confidence. So I was very young when I first went to the bank with a business plan. I remember writing that out and turning up and asking for £2,500, which I think is quite incredible now if you think of what a lot of 18-year-olds are up to. And anyway, they said yes, and I went off and started my own business. And within a month, I had 4 members of staff, a full yard and a big waiting list, and then went on to set up and run the largest competition centre in the Southwest. Then went on to run a riding club and lots of different things. It's definitely worth mentioning the magazine, because that was something else I'd always been passionate about writing. I know we've got a couple of writers on here this evening, which we'll chat about later, but writing was always a sort of passion of mine, and in typical sort of me style, I just thought, well, if I want to write and I love horses, let's just write about horses. And I actually launched this magazine from my office at home, not really knowing what I was doing, and muddled my way through for the next few years, but sold the magazine successfully, went on to be editor for years. And a lot of that was about helping people with their businesses, really helping people advertise, helping people create marketing plans and that sort of thing for their equestrian businesses. And after I sold the magazine for the second time, I sold 2 magazines. I remember actually one day I was walking around Sainsbury's, Roxy was a baby, and somebody rang me up and said, I've asked lots and lots of people who knows all about horses, all about marketing, all about writing, and your name keeps coming up. So I obviously made an impact on the equestrian world, and that's when I was headhunted then to work for a company called Equivet. And then back in 2009, I joined UW, which is my current company that I've been with for 12 years. Absolutely loved it, and sort of made my way up through the sort of stairway of success, we call it, fairly successful in that, recruiting a lot of people. And just recently started Passion to Pocket, which is sort of where these courses and this sort of extra training is coming from. So this week in the challenge, we were talking about first impressions. And I think many people were quite surprised to learn that it takes a nanosecond, I'm not even sure what that is, but a very, very, very short space of time for people to decide whether they trust you or not. Now, in business, trust is obviously extremely important, because if you want people to want to work with you or buy from you, whatever that is, trust is really important. But it's a basic human instinct for us to decide really quickly whether we trust someone or not. Because actually it does come down to safety. You know, if you don't trust someone, you want to run away as soon as you can, get out of there, because they could be a danger. And that's basically what first impressions is all about, really trying to bond with people super quick, build rapport with them super quick. And there's lots of things obviously that you can do there with smiling, with eye contact, with positive energy. And we talked a lot about asking the right sort of questions. So in the chat, if you were in the challenge, if there was anything that you sort of learned about the building rapport and the first impressions, feel free to pop it in there. I'm just going to see if I can get the chat up on my screen now, so I can just see it and see if I can answer anything that pops up. Asking questions is absolutely key. I'm sure you all know that, because it's all about them. Sorry, that's because I just clicked on here, just bear with me. Asking questions when you're building rapport is very much trying to be very, very interested in the other person. People also like people like themselves. So while you're trying to find sort of common ground, as it were, in a conversation, one thing I've put on here, never trump. I don't know if you know what that means. Some of you will, but that's it's very tempting when you're in a conversation with somebody, especially when you're trying to get them to like you, and you might, you're trying to sort of bond with them, that when they start talking to you about an experience they've had, it's very easy to take over the conversation. So if someone says, oh, I really want to go to Italy. Oh, I went to Italy, and you start talking about yourself again. So be really aware that when you're trying to build rapport, it's really important to give other people the space to talk about whatever it is you've asked them to talk about, using their name a lot, really being authentic, and thinking all the time about how can you help them? How can you genuinely bring some value to that conversation? Now, that's an awful lot to think about when it actually takes only 7 seconds for somebody to form an opinion of you. So I'm not putting pressure on you, because otherwise you're going to be running away every time you have a conversation, but just really, really think about those few things. Now, obviously, there's different occasions. Now, if it's somebody that you're going to see very often, so somebody that you're striking up a friendship or an acquaintance with, then obviously you're not going to be trying to sell to them or push your product on them or anything like that, of course, in those first early conversations. However, certainly in UW business, very often we get a referral, or we're with someone that we're supporting. So we actually have to form these relationships super, super quick, because it could be in that very first conversation that you are actually presenting your product or your service. So it's really, really interesting stuff. And we had quite a lot of fun with that last week about, different things that you can do to try and help people have a good impression of you, but also to remember you. And I love this, because this is where we start to think about, why are you different to somebody else that might be offering the same thing? And, it never matters how many people are offering the same product or service that you are, because you know, it's like, it's ridiculous for people to say, oh, I'm not going to open a hairdresser because there's another hairdresser in town. You know, that's just one example. Of course, there are a lot of different hairdressers. People go to hairdressers for different reasons. It doesn't matter that there's lots of people doing the same thing as you. What matters is you bringing out your personality. Don't compare yourself to anybody else ever, because you are absolutely unique. And every single one of you on here has your own stories, your own background, your own things that you like to do. Your own experiences. And it really is in business about finding your own, I've put tribe of supporters, but it's finding people who are going to relate to you and building relationships with them, which will mean that you get ongoing referrals in business and all that type of thing as well. And so also, what is your passion? So again, we talked about, and we had a fun thing where we were saying that, you know, almost imagine that you are promoting yourself to a Dragon's Den type panel, and you have to firstly build rapport with them super quick. Secondly, you've got to tell them 3 interesting facts about yourself, and then you've got to talk to them about your business. So does your current business make your heart sing? Because if it does, then that's absolutely fantastic, and just that in itself will mean that you connect with people on a whole different level when you're talking about the business. Now, part of what I want to do through sort of Passion to Pocket and through these courses is to help everybody think a little bit outside the box as well as to what type of income streams you could possibly have. And obviously a lot of you have got your own home-based business already, which is fantastic. But another way to build that business and to connect with more people is to think of what else could I do to bring people like me together, to bring people that have the same interests as me together in order to build those relationships, which will also build your current business. So it's really trying to think laterally. And I know a lot of you have heard me say that millionaires, the average millionaire has about 7 different income streams, you know, so really do think about in life, you know, would it help me get closer to my goals if I thought about some other things I could stretch myself with? And just a few people that I've been working with or chatting to recently, I mean, you know, Jane Sunnis, I know you're on here this evening, might hear from you later, because Jane is a partner with UW and a very successful one. She's also got a passion for Greek cooking and loves everything to do with Greece. And we were chatting about it the other day about providing maybe, you know, a catering service to the wealthy people in Wedmore, where Jane lives now, if they wanted a dinner party or something. And it's funny how the universe acts in such a strange way when you start to open your mind to different things, because I know that Jane actually bumped into someone in the park yesterday or the day before, got chatting to them, and they run a business with Italian cooking and run courses and you know, teach people how to cook and do a catering business. I just thought it was really interesting how you put something in your head and you take a little bit of action on it, and then, you know, things do start to happen, things start to come your way. To be an expert in something just means that you know more about that subject than most. I think that's Margaret, isn't it? I'm just muting Margaret. I think it was Margaret that was just made a bit of noise. Yeah, so that's interesting as well. So think about that. To be an expert just means that you know more than most people in an average room about the given subject. So that's quite interesting as well. So we're going to really think about that as we go through, and certainly as we go through other trainings and things as well. Right, so just bear with me, going to go through. Okay, so we talked as well, and this is the bit I think where a lot of people really struggled with this, is talking about who is the ideal person that you want to serve with your product or service. The problem is sometimes it can be very general. You know, you could say if it was a health product, well, everybody needs to be more healthy. Or if it's a service, a lot of us are into, you know, utility service or helping people save money, you could say, well, everybody wants to save money. But the trouble is, if you are using that sort of message in your messaging and in your social media content and things like that, you're not actually speaking to anybody. So you're trying to speak to everybody, but you're not speaking to anybody. And it's really interesting if you really narrow it down as to who would you really like to work with. Who will you relate to best? It could be, again, people like yourself, because we've said already that people like you. But think about what you're actually helping people with. And to narrow it down, it's quite useful to think about in the past year, for example, who have been your favorite customers or clients? Who were they? What type of people were they? Where did you find them? Because that's really good to go back every now and then and think about who you're already working with. And think about, you know, what are their challenges? What are their fears? What are their hopes? And this is a bit of homework for you to do after today, because I know how difficult this is, but I know how effective it is to write down 20 things about the person that you would like to serve. And that literally, you know, it could be, what age are they? Where do they like to travel? Are they a parent? What's their current job? Hobby? What do they like to eat and drink? What do they read? What are their goals? And it sounds like, oh my God, you know, she's gone mad. What's she talking about? But I promise you, if you really, really start talking to the person you want to help, whether that's somebody that you want to offer a business opportunity to, or you want to help with saving money, or you want to help because you want to cater to them, or whatever it is, if you really start thinking about that, it will make a massive difference to your response from your social media marketing and things like that. So here we are, there's a few things on the screen now. Who are they? Where do they live? What do they do? Where do they want to go on holiday? And where are you going to find them? Because that's the crucial bit now. In Step Up to Success, we've got a whole sort of session on building your audience. And I talked a bit last week about the hot dog story. So, you know, there's a hot dog stand. They've got the best hot dogs in town. They've got the best sauce in town. They've got the best bread in town. They're the, you know, the cheapest maybe as well. Really, really good service. But how are they going to up their sales massively? So how are they going to sell more and more and more hot dogs, even though they're doing everything they can already? And the very simple answer is they need to go and find a bunch of really hungry people. So that's just an example of putting your, whatever it is you sell or your service you've got, you need to put it in front of people that want it. Because it doesn't matter if you think it's for everybody, it obviously isn't. Otherwise, everybody would be banging on your door. So you've got to go and find people that really, really want whatever it is that you are going to help them with. So we're not just helping. It's not that we've just got a product to sell or a service to give. It's the transformation that we can give to people. That is the important thing in our messaging. And so when people ask you, what do you do? Or how do you help people? You need to have some really good answers to that, bearing in mind whatever it is that you do. So think about that. Think about this with your particular product or service or whatever it is. So I take people from being stressed out about juggling their household finances to feeling in control with more money back in their pockets. That's just one example. Or you could say, I show people how in just a few hours a week, they can have an extra income midway through the month so they don't have to stress about their bills. That's just a couple of examples that might help some of the people on here. There's lots of other things as well. We've got that one about writing there, because we're going to talk a bit about copywriting, creative writing as well. So I take the worry away from people who are struggling to know what to write on their social media and things like that. I provide a simple solution for people who are hosting dinner parties but feeling stressed about the catering. Or I help people who know they're not taking care of themselves properly but not sure what the right steps to start with. So whatever it is that you do, really do take it away and think about how can you explain that to people in a much clearer way. So it's a step-by-step process. You're providing a solution. It's not just I am a, it's a this is what I do. And that is so, so helpful when you're speaking to people out and about and people ask you what you do. Again, on your social media and your content or anything like that, if you get a really clear picture of what you're helping people with, that's going to make a big difference to how they connect with you as well. So creating referrals, just before we talk about this bit, this is about asking people to recommend you. But before that, we're just going to talk a little bit about selling, about the word selling. And if you want to put in the chat, what do you feel about the word selling? Or how do you feel when you are being a salesperson to somebody, or you feel like you're sort of in selling mode? Just if you want to put anything in the chat. Not very comfortable, somebody's put there. Uncomfortable, yeah. Well done, Karina. Karina's put the right word in there because that's what it's all about. So selling is actually just providing people with something that they want. Okay, so it is actually, it's giving. It's not forcing people into it. It's not coercing people in. So Sean's put nervous. That's a very honest thing to say, Sean. So you're feeling nervous about it. And that might still be a little bit of lack of belief, possibly because you're not that experienced yet in what you're doing. Ros prefers to use the word show and sell. That's a little bit because you are a little bit nervous about the word selling. So you've obviously got a few mindset issues around the word. So instead of addressing the mindset issues around the word, what you've done is change the word. So you said we show people, not sell to people. That's what we say in our business, because obviously we want to show people a simple presentation. But it goes a bit deeper than that, because if you absolutely believe that what you're doing, so Julie's put pressurized, so that's how you feel like you might be pressurizing someone else, or you certainly may feel pressurized if you're being sold to. If you can get really, really good at providing value, at believing in what it is that you do is helping people, it takes away that fear, if you like, that feeling of pressuring. Ash has put a lead with the words, I'm not going to do a hard sell, as that isn't my thing, but if you're interested. That's interesting, Ash, because actually you've got to be careful with that sometimes, because that could actually put the words hard sell into someone's head when it wasn't there before. I know what you're saying, because you're trying to sort of deal with the objection before you even start, which is a good thing to do. But it's interesting, because then still in the back of your mind is the fact that you may be doing a hard sell. So it's really, really interesting that you put that. If you, I know you give massive value, and we're actually talking a little bit about you in a minute, but I know you give massive value to people. And actually, again, what you do is you help people save money, you help people have more, you help people with their finances, which is fantastic. A realistic proposal. So it's about, people often ask me, how do you close, at the end of the presentation, how do you close people into selling that, to buying? And I realized quite recently that I don't actually. And I don't even ask people at the end of my presentation with UW if they want to buy or not. They've already bought in, they're already in, or there's a very good reason why they can't, which is so obvious that I've already taken it away from them. Because that's the interesting thing. We only want to help people that we can genuinely help. So if your product or service is not right for somebody, you must tell them it's not right for them, because then actually you're really not selling, you are just providing value. And if you know you're going to do that, and if you go into every situation knowing that you are absolutely going to do what's right by the person you're talking to, you'll find that you do get genuine referrals coming your way all the time. Because even people that don't decide to work with you at that time, for whatever reason, will be happy for you to recommend you on to their friends and family, or whoever it is, or somebody else in business that needs what you've got. So that's so key. So firstly, really think about how you're building rapport in the beginning, building up the conversation, being very, very open, being passionate about what it is that you do. And then through if it is a presentation, or if you are talking people through something, you can actually really make sure that this is doing what's right for them. And if as a part of the process you realize it's not, either they can't afford your product or service if it's something that you sell, because that's a really good one. Don't push people into buying if you know that you're going to put them into financial trouble. Or if it's because you say with us, with the services, and you've offered to save someone money, and then you realize halfway through that it's not going to be right for them for whatever reason, the absolute best thing you can do is take it away from them first. Don't wait to ask the question at the end, is this for you or not, if you've got a gut feeling that it isn't. Because if you actually say, look, I don't think at the moment this is quite right for you, but shall we revisit it in the near future, or whatever that is, because it does really, really help. So in terms of creating a stream of referrals, it's just the next step, if you like, from this better relationships, better contacts, better rapport building, all that stuff, and then really bringing value to the conversations, bringing value in every way you can to that person's life, not just in that way. I've put over deliver in every communication. What that means is always be mindful of how you are communicating with people, and absolutely help people for the sake of helping them. Because if you do that, they're going to want to do the same for you. But also, as I said, the law of attraction does kick in if it realizes that you're out there helping. And it's about taking inspired action as well towards your goals, because I often say there's a concept of, if you are knocking on 12 doors a day, I don't mean literally knocking on people's doors, I mean looking for opportunities and being active with your business, the universe will open thousands more for you. And that is so true. So a lot of this is about learning to take consistent action, but always making sure that you do go the extra mile to recommend them. And we're not going massively into networking this evening because we haven't got time for that, but we are covering that a little bit on the course. Well, we've got a whole session on it, because networking is not just, it's online or offline, and there's so many things to consider with how you are interacting with other people, particularly business people, particularly when you are building a business and wanting to, find more people that you can bring value to. Strive for excellence in everything you do. Make sure that people really understand the transformation that you're offering. So it's not just about the products and services, it's about what you can actually do for people. And it really does make a massive difference. So, sorry, I'm just checking that I haven't forgotten anything on there. Oh, right, let me go back one. So yes, this is a good one. You are all awesome and you are all completely unique, and that's something that you must remember and remember and remember. If you want to get that stream of referrals, if you want to build your business massively, you've just got to try and give value to people as much as you can and genuinely care, as I said, more about them. And also it's about showing up for yourself. It's not just showing up for your business, it's showing up for yourself. How are you going to look after yourself to give you the energy that you need in order to build a big business, if that's what you want to do? It is lots and lots about consistency, and also being prepared to work hard on yourself as well as you do on your business. That is really, really key. And you know, a lot of us here are working towards passive income, and I'm so intrigued about all the different passive income streams that are there. A lot of that is what the courses are going to be about, is about building other forms of passive income, because in Utility Warehouse, we have a brilliant passive income because it comes through as a percentage of people's bills and some time leverage on their team, which works absolutely fantastically over time. But there are other ways of having passive or semi-passive income in any business, and that can be through memberships. It could be through, you know, online courses or ebooks. I know we've got an author on here, which we're going to hear about in a minute as well. So, you know, there's lots and lots of ways of building passive income streams, and that's where we all need to get to. You know, if we're going to be able to live the life that we want to, with money coming in, whether we work or not, then there's lots and lots of different things to consider. And I'm finding that all very, very interesting and very intriguing. Right, we're going to come on to questions at the end, and I've got some prizes soon. I am just going to run through now a little bit of information about the Step Up to Success course, which starts next week, actually. So it is actually open now, again, for people to take part in the course if they want to, just for the next week. So Monday next week, sort of the cart closes on that, and it starts the following Thursday. So I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about that. And why I've started doing it. And mostly it's because I enjoy coaching and training people so much. And I've done a lot of that through UW for the last 12 years, but also realize that there's, you know, there are people out there that might not want to be part of network marketing, but they've just got their own business, but they don't always have a clear strategy, or maybe they're struggling a little bit with a mindset. Because I think, well, I know mindset is probably the biggest thing for people, whether they're going to be successful in business or not. Because if you believe you can, and if you believe you can't, you're right. We hear that a lot, and you can do it. Everybody can do it. Everybody can have an extraordinary life if they're prepared to take massive action. So this is a 6-week course starting next week. It's going to be a Thursday night session for around an hour, a Zoom training session. And we're also going to do a Monday night, which will be every week, goal setting, accountability, and some networking. So that Monday night it's sort of an optional, but I would totally recommend people get involved with that, because we can do weekly goal setting, we can look at bigger goals, we can do some accountability and get some accountability partners working together for the duration of the course, which will work really well, and also a bit of networking. So there'll be people from different businesses in there. I might even give you some good fun networking sessions where you're not allowed to talk about certain things in breakout rooms, and that's always good fun, where you're not allowed to talk about something because all you want to do is talk about that one thing. So anyway, that's the goal setting stuff. The actual modules, if you like, the Thursday nights, this is just to take you really step by step with some things that can help you make more out of your business, whatever your business is, or maybe even decide that there is another angle, that there is something else that you could do. So the first module is about mindset. We've got to get that right in the beginning, and there's going to be some little daily stuff for you to do through the 6 weeks to sort your heads out, get your head in the right place. And we're also going to talk about time planning and blocking. As a very, very busy person, I have found that very useful recently to make sure that you're getting the most out of your time. We're going to talk about money mindset, what money blocks are holding you back. So you might not even know you've got some, but most people do, which is quite interesting. We're going to talk about a bit more about the ideal client. And I think, sorry, the bar's in the way. Let me just move that up a bit. Yes, I can see that. So that was the ideal client one. And a bit more about that, really, a bit more about messaging and how to speak to them, because I know some of you are still a little bit confused about that. So we're going to make sure we do that. Then we're going to talk about social media, particularly Facebook, and that's about personal profiles, how to create a group and a page, and also about Facebook Lives. I know many of you will have seen that I've been doing a lot of Facebook Lives lately, but Facebook Lives are one of the best ways of promoting your business. And I know it's something that a lot of people feel very uncomfortable about. So we're going to do some help with that, a bit of fun on that. And talk about building your audience, sales funnels and email marketing, which might be something that you haven't even considered, but is definitely a very, very effective way of communicating with your audience. And we're going to talk about networking. So as I said, we've got the Monday nights as well. Now there's a few bonuses. So this is a paid for course. However, next year when I launch this, I want to say properly, because this is a very soft, friendly, just, you know, a lot of people that I already work with and things that are in this time. But this type of course online is usually around £500 or £600. It's not that this time. And I'm hoping that those that are involved already, I know many of you have already booked on, which is fabulous, are going to help me with some good feedback, some honest feedback, and let me know the bits you liked and the bits you didn't like so much, so that we can get it really, you know, tweaked and right for next year. So there's a few extras for people that book before tomorrow night. And that's all on the link, which I'll share with you in a minute as well. But this is exciting because it's not just me in this course, not just me bleating on at you all. I'll be doing the sessions, but also these lovely people on the screen here you can see are all going to come in and do a Facebook Live training at some point in the course, and then be there to answer any questions that you have. So Gillian Schofield, she is a copywriter, absolutely brilliant. So talking about those messages and things to your ideal client, we'll get her in the week around that module, because she will be absolutely fabulous at helping us get our messaging right and how to talk to the right person. So looking forward to that. Ash, who's on here this evening. Hi, Ash. Ash is an accountant for the entrepreneur, is what she describes herself. She's absolutely awesome. And I know that many of you will have questions about running your own business and about what you can claim back on tax and all that type of stuff. So Ash is going to come in and do a training for us and answer some questions as well, which will be really cool. We've got Adam, who I know is here this evening. Hi, Adam, who is a creative writer and a published author. And I can't wait to interview Adam in here and talk to him about, you know, getting that book published. I think they say everyone's got a book in them, haven't they? So that's going to be a really great session. And again, creative words, which is fantastic. I think you'll recognize that lovely lady there, some of you. That's my sister Liz, who's going to come in and do a bit, particularly on LinkedIn, because she uses LinkedIn really, really effectively in her business. And then we've got Sarah Appleton, who is a brand. She does marketing, branding, websites, and is an expert on Canva. So she's going to be in there as well. So there's lots of extra help and resources, which is going to be really cool. So that's the cost of the course. It's either 3 payments of £85 or 1 payment of £195. So the £85, it'll be from the first payment and then basically monthly after that, or the one-off one, which obviously is a little bit cheaper. And that is the link for more information, basically about Step Up to Success and to book. And I just wanted to mention as well, most of you or some of you will be in this other Facebook group, but this is Passion to Pocket, is where we're also going to have some more ongoing trainings and, you know, different pop-up free live interviews and things like that in there. So if you're not in that Facebook group, then I would suggest you get in there, because that will be really good for ongoing training as well. So that is that. It is now prizes time. So I'm just going to come out of this screen share for a second. There we are. Okay, you lovely lot. So I have got some prizes. Now this is sadly for those that aren't that weren't on the challenge. This is for people that were in the challenge, but it's going to be nice and quick. So give us a wave if you were in the challenge this week and your name is here. Yay, look at this. Right, okay. So in this little box here, I've got everybody that completed all 3 steps of the challenge, which was quite a lot of you actually, which was pretty good, all 3 tasks. So really, really well done. And by the way, our community champion was Sue Rowe. So well done, Sue. So that was all about the person that was most active in our Facebook group this week. So well done, Sue. So basically we've got a day of lives and interviews and promotions, and we'll chat about that, which is going to be a lot of fun. So we'll get that done. So well done. And I know Sue's on the course as well, aren't you? So we're going to have lots of fun on that as well. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so the first prize is a £50 restaurant voucher. So basically that's going to be anywhere you would like to go. And I'm not sure if she's on here. She's allowed to have it anyway, even if she's not, but I'm not sure if she is. Let me see. I think she might. Oh, yes, she is. So first prize goes to Marie Osborne. Well done, Marie. Hey, well done, Marie. That's awesome. Absolutely brilliant. And then the second prize is 3, and this is going to be 3 of my favorite business books. So I hope you like them. So this is going to be 3 of my favorites. I haven't exactly decided which 3 they're going to be yet, because I've got lots of favorite books. And that's gone to Sean. Where's Sean? Well done, Sean. Oh, he's just said, well done, Marie. Well, there we are then. So Sean, I've got that written down here. And then third prize was 1. Well done. Well done. And third prize is, third prize is Heather Cox. I expect Heather's probably in an appointment this evening. Is she here? I don't know, but anyway, I'll we'll get in touch with Heather. That's absolutely awesome. Well done, guys. Right, I'm just going to stop the recording and then we can go into questions and things. So